Let's talk about one of the biggest financial decisions you will ever make. Seriously, we're diving into the question that will shape your retirement for decades to come. When it comes to your Social Security, what's the right move? Do you take the money as early as possible, or do you wait it out for a bigger prize? So here it is, the million-dollar question. When should you claim Social Security? Think of it like you're standing at a fork in the road. You can turn left and start getting smaller checks right away at age 62. That's immediate cash in your pocket. Or you can hold out, stay the course, and get much, much bigger checks later on. This isn't just a tiny detail in your financial plan. Believe me, this is the main event. It could be the one decision that defines your entire quality of life in retirement. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this could be the most important financial decision you make. The difference between claiming early and claiming late could literally swing your lifetime retirement income by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about it like pouring the foundation of a house. Once that concrete is set, that's it. It's done. You can't just go back and change it later. This one choice sets the stage for your guaranteed income for the rest of your life. So yeah, getting this right is a pretty big deal. Okay, before we get into the weeds, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to talk about just how high the stakes really are. Then we'll get into the actual rules of Social Security, so we're all on the same page. After that, we'll break down the two main strategies, claiming early and investing versus the patient power of delaying. Then, the most important part, helping you figure out your strategy, because this is not a one-size-fits-all deal. And we'll finish up by hitting some of your most frequently asked questions. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1. Before we dive into the how, we really need to understand the why. Why does this one decision carry so much weight? This is about more than just your monthly budget. It's about your long-term wealth, your security, and your peace of mind for decades to come. So why is this such a big deal? Well, a few reasons. First, like I said, we're talking about a potential difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. That is life-changing money. Second, and you really need to hear this, it's a one-time decision. There are no do-overs. Once you file, you're pretty much locked in. This choice is going to directly impact your guaranteed income for as long as you live. And what it all boils down to is this: it's a trade-off. You're balancing the potential for growth against the comfort of rock-solid security. All right, Section 2. Let's make sure we're all working from the same playbook. You can't make a smart move if you don't know the rules of the game. So let's break down the fundamentals of how this whole thing works. So what is Social Security, really? At its core, think of it as retirement insurance. You pay into it your whole working life, right? And in exchange, the government guarantees you an income stream when you retire. It's designed to be the foundation, the bedrock that you can build the rest of your retirement on top of. It's your safety net. Now, there are 3 magic numbers you have to burn into your brain. First up is age 62. That's the absolute earliest you can claim. But there's a catch. You take a big permanent pay cut, up to 30%. Next, you have your full retirement age, or FRA. For most of us, that's going to be 66 or 67. Think of this as your 100% baseline. And finally, there's age 70. For every single year you wait past your full retirement age up to 70, you get a bonus, a permanent raise. Let's see what that actually looks like in dollars and cents. Okay, percentages are one thing, but this chart makes it crystal clear. Let's say your full benefit at age 67 is $2,600 a month. Not bad. But if you jump the gun and claim at 62, look at that. It drops to just $2,000. Now look what happens if you wait. Just by holding off until age 70, that same benefit balloons to $3,000 a month. That is a 50% bigger check every single month for the rest of your life, just for being patient. That's the power we're talking about. If there is one number you remember from this whole explainer, let it be this one: 8%. For every year you delay past your full retirement age, your benefit grows by about 8%. Now stop and think about that for a second. Where else on earth can you get a guaranteed, risk-free, government-backed 8% return on your money? You can't. It's an incredible deal, and it's just sitting there waiting for you. Okay, now that we know the rules, let's talk strategy. In Section 3, we're looking at our first contender. This is the strategy for the optimist, the go-getter, the person who thinks they can beat the system. This is the claim and invest strategy. The plan itself is pretty simple. Step 1. You take your Social Security benefits the minute you're eligible, at age 62. Step 2, those monthly checks start hitting your bank account. But, and this is the absolute key to the whole thing, you don't spend it. Step 3, you become a disciplined machine, and you invest every single dollar you receive. And step 4, you just let it ride, letting compound interest work its magic over the years. So the big question is, does the math actually work out? Well, let's run a hypothetical. And just to be totally transparent, here are the assumptions we're using. We'll say you start at 62, getting that reduced benefit of $2,000 a month. We'll assume a pretty conservative 6% annual return from your investments, and we'll look at the results after 15 years, when you're 77 years old. So what's the outcome? The grand total? Using those pretty reasonable assumptions, by the time you hit age 77, that stream of invested checks could grow into a portfolio worth around $700,000. Let that sink in for a moment. $700,000. That's a huge number. And that potential payday is exactly what makes this strategy so incredibly tempting. But of course, there are two sides to every coin. The pros are obvious, right? You get cash right away, you have the potential for massive growth, and you've got flexibility. But the cons are just as serious. You're taking on major market risk. I mean, what if the market crashes? This plan also requires superhuman discipline to keep investing month after month, no matter what. And you have to accept that your guaranteed monthly check will be smaller forever. All right, we're about at the halfway point, so let's take a quick pause. Before we move on, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide.
Okay, let's flip the script and move on to Section 4. If Claim and Invest is all about taking risks for a potential reward, this next strategy is the complete opposite. It's built on certainty, guarantees, and peace of mind. Let's talk about the power of delaying.
I really want you to focus on this quote. Delaying Social Security is essentially a guaranteed 8% annual return, risk-free. I'm going to pause for a second just to let that sink in. You're basically buying a bigger pension from the government. You're making an investment in your future self, and the return on that investment is that unbeatable, risk-free 8%. It is the ultimate security blanket. So, the obvious question is, when does waiting actually pay off? This is what we call a break-even analysis. As you can see from the chart, for the first few years, the person who claims early is ahead in total dollars, but those bigger checks for the person who waited eventually start to catch up. For most people, that crossover point, the break-even age, happens somewhere in your early to mid-80s. If you live past that age, you come out way, way ahead by delaying. So who is this strategy perfect for? Well, delaying is an absolute slam dunk if a few of these things are true for you. If you have other money to live on until you're 70, if you're healthy and people in your family tend to live a long time, if the thought of a stock market crash keeps you up at night, if your number one goal is the biggest possible guaranteed check you can get. And this last one is huge, if you want to make sure your spouse is taken care of with the largest possible survivor benefit. Okay, so we've got strategy 1, the high growth, high risk play. And we've got strategy 2, the slow and steady security play. Now, for the most important part in Section 5, figuring out what's right for you. Let's put these two head to head. In one corner, you've got Claim and Invest. The goal is building wealth. The big draw is high growth potential. The risk, the crazy stock market. It's best for confident investors who can stomach the ups and downs. In the other corner, you have delay benefits. The goal here is income security. The benefit is the biggest guaranteed check possible. The risk, dying before you break even. This is perfect for anyone who values a good night's sleep over chasing market returns. But here's something really important to remember. This isn't always a black or white decision. You don't have to go all in on one or the other. You can absolutely create a hybrid strategy. For example, maybe one spouse claims early to get some cash flow going, while the higher earning spouse waits until 70 to max out their benefit. That's a super common and really smart strategy for couples. Sometimes the best answer is somewhere in the middle. At the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. I want you to really think about these questions. What's your health like? What about your family history? Do you need the money right now just to pay the bills? How would you really feel if your investment portfolio dropped 20%? And be honest, are you disciplined enough to actually invest every check? Or would you be tempted to spend it? Finally, what other savings do you have to fall back on? Your answers to these questions will point you in the right direction. Okay, to wrap things up, let's get into our final section and do a quick fire round of the most common questions people have. The little details here can make a big difference. First up, the question everyone loves: taxes. The short answer is maybe. Yes, your Social Security can be taxed. It all depends on your other income. Depending on how much you have coming in from other sources, up to 85% of your benefits could be taxable. It's complicated, so this is definitely a situation where you want to talk to a tax pro. Okay, listen up if you're married because this is huge. Your decision doesn't just affect you, it dramatically affects your spouse if you pass away first. If the higher earning spouse delays until age 70, you're not just getting a bigger check for yourself, you are locking in the largest possible survivor benefit for your partner. It's one of the best things you can do to protect them financially.
This is the elephant in the room for the claim and invest strategy. What happens if you start at 62 and the market tanks when you're 63? A big market crash early on can be devastating. It's something called sequence of returns risk, and it can permanently cripple your portfolio's growth. It's the single biggest risk of the claim early approach.
So when you put it all together, your final decision is kind of a recipe, like this chart shows. The two biggest ingredients are how long you expect to live and how you personally feel about risk. Those are the heavy hitters. But you also have to mix in your immediate need for cash and what other retirement accounts you have. Your personal recipe might be a little different, but these are the core components. All right, we covered a lot, so let's boil it down. Claiming early gives you the potential for more wealth, but it comes with real market risk. Delaying is your risk-free ticket to a higher guaranteed income for life. The break-even point is usually in your early to mid-80s. And the most important takeaway of all, this has to be a personal decision. There is no single right answer for everyone.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. You now have the framework. You understand the trade-offs. The real question you need to ask yourself is, what do you value more? The potential for more growth or the certainty of a lifetime guarantee? I truly hope this explainer gave you some clarity on this massive decision. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. Thanks for watching.